Welcome, dear friends, and here we are at chapter 15 of the third treatise, and this one is called The New Beginning. A lot of promise in that title. We've all experienced new beginnings. We've all made the choice to forgive the past and begin anew. Verse 2 tells us what hampers new beginnings of all kinds within the human experience are ideas that things cannot be different than they once were. So what is this telling us? Is that we start these new beginnings, but we start with a preconceived idea of what's going to happen and what it's going to be like. And so what happens when we come at it from that point of view and that mindset is that we end up creating something really, really similar or almost identical, actually, to our past experiences. So we want to bring that to our awareness now. Then he tells us new beginnings don't occur outside of relationship. Now, just because I chose this image of the bride and groom doesn't mean it's that kind of relationship. The relationship that we're talking about here is you actually interacting with what's going on. That's the kind of relationship. Your response to what occurs within your field and within your experience. In fact, we go to the next idea. The idea of special relationships hampers new beginnings. Remember how important the word idea is to what we're attempting to learn here. Because we are actually creators, when we have these ideas, we create with them. That's the thing around which the juice of the universe forms itself into an actual experience. So when we have an idea of a special relationship, in other words, that this particular person is more valuable, or this particular experience is more valuable, or more real, or more fulfilling, or more of God than any other relationship, that's when we get into trouble. This does not mean, as I like to say over and over and over, does not mean that we don't have different relationships with different other beings. It doesn't mean that we don't have a lover or a best friend or a child or a parent or a partner. It doesn't mean any of those things, because all the people in our lives, we interact with them and we play different roles. What it does mean is that we approach each person, each encounter, each experience with the same open heart as we do everything else that comes across our field. That's what it means. Verse 3, special relationships of all types are based upon expectation. Expectations of certain behavior and expectations of continued special treatment within the relationship. It is the expectation of a known set of criterion concerning the relationship, a set of criterion based upon the past, that is most often what prevents new beginnings from truly beginning new. So this is really helpful when we look at our relationships with the other beings in our lives. If we turn over a new leaf and every day is actually a new leaf, every moment. If we approach every moment with this set of expectations of how this person's going to react, how they're going to behave, or what they did yesterday, and we carry that with us into the relationship, we just keep creating the same old thing, which is generally disappointment, to be honest, because people don't usually meet our expectations, darn them. So this is just really the concept of coming fresh into every experience, fresh into the experience of this particular moment without preconceived ideas and expectations, that every day begins fresh. What's this day going to bring? What's present with me now? And just really staying in that place of beginner's mind, where we don't try to load everything that happens to us and everyone we encounter with our own preconceived ideas of what's going to go down. At some basic level, we know that humans don't change, and this is true. But we forget that who they have represented themselves to be is not who they actually are. This includes you. So what does this mean? No, people don't change because people are gods. They're constant. They have that thing within them that is consistent and constant and ever itself. So we know that. But we forget that the identity that they've taken on in this life is not an accurate representation of who they really are. And neither is your identity. Even when we give others or ourselves another chance, we're usually expecting the past to repeat itself. Boy, that's really true. It's so true, isn't it? So the cycle then becomes new beginning, expectations based on the past happens next. Then what happens after that? A misrepresentation of the self, thinking that we are actually the character we're playing. And then what happens is old patterns meet expectations of failure, and it happens. They fail, we fail, it fails, and then we have to come up with a new beginning again. And we play this little scenario over and over and over. So let's get out of the cycle. Verse 7, you must now birth the idea, and here we are again with this idea. So important, because you're a creator and you create with ideas. You must now birth the idea that human beings do indeed change. And of course, not the part of us that's constant, not the part of it that is actually connected to source at all times, but who we're representing in the world. That changes. How? By recognizing that the unchangeable core has not been accurately represented in the past. The representation can change, but only when you see yourself and others as they truly are. Now notice this did not say only when they figure out that they're on the wrong path. No, no, no. This is an inside job, no matter how you look at it. Everything that you do happens inside you. Whatever is on the outside is a reflection of what's happening inside of you. So when you birth this idea that, gee, my husband could change, then you start looking at him as he truly is, as his real self, and insist on only seeing that, only that. And then you insist on only seeing that in yourself, which another way of saying that is loving yourself, truly loving and accepting and holding yourself, bringing yourself into the embrace and recognizing the majesty that you really are and that others are. That's where it happens. It happens inside you. Verse 9, the new beginning you are called to now is a new beginning that, like all others you have offered or attempted, will take place in relationship. The difference is that this new beginning will take place in holy rather than special relationship. So when we are in relationship, it's actually an inner response, a response in you that when it is actually true, when your response is true, it actually permeates the other. It communicates with the other and allows them to see themselves as they truly are. Verse 10. The holy relationship has been accomplished by the joining of the mind and heart in unity. Listen closely to this, because you can gloss over this if you're not paying attention. The holy relationship is with the self that abides in unity with all within the house of truth. This relationship makes the self of one with all, and so brings the holiness of the self to all. So what we're talking about here is that same idea that we get this feeling when we talk about relationship. We have the idea that here I am over here, this character, and there you are over there, that character. There's an other. There is such a thing as someone else. And what this is taking us to is, oh no, there isn't. Oh no, there isn't. It's saying that your holy relationship, no matter what being is in front of you, is with the self that abides within you. That's where it happens. And because the self, the one that abides within you, is absolutely connected to every other atom of creation, you're connected. You don't have to experience this is me and this is them. In fact, it won't get you there. Going on then with the slide, it is not until you love yourself over and over and over again that you will know how to love the true self of other. Self-love of your own true heart becomes your practice until your old patterns of self-doubt and constant self-criticism have been replaced by acknowledgement of your true identity. Really, this is the crux of spiritual practice. That we take that energy of love, which we've all experienced, you know what it is, and you take that love light and you turn it in to yourself. And you love whatever shows up in your screen, whatever shows up in you, even the parts that seem to be dysfunctional, even the parts that seem to not get it right. That's okay, honey. That's okay. That's just part of the character you've been playing. I love you anyway. And we just give ourselves love and love and love and love. And if you do this, watch your world change. Verse 13. Living by what you have learned will usher in the new. And there's the promise. We are now adding the idea that these beliefs can be represented in form. This is the Christ that we're always being talked to about, how this is going to happen, how it's not just on a spirit level, that it's going to happen in form. We're going to start seeing it in our external worlds. And they can change the very nature of the self as human being. So what happens, notice that's this lowercase self. When you do this, when you take that energy of love and just support yourself and love yourself and know yourself as you truly are, there's no effort to try to bring your represented self into alignment. It just happens. And you then walk in the world more and more and more as you truly are, and seeing the reflections, the projections that are constantly across your path that we think is another person. And we start seeing them as loving, lovable, completely perfect projections, reflections of the one, of the divine, then that's when things really start to happen. And he reminds us then that beginning idea. In order to do this, you must consciously let go of all your ideas of the limitations of what it means to be a human being. There's the word ideas again. See, when we hold the idea that a human being can only be this because you're a powerful creator, then in your experience, a human being can only be this. So the idea has to expand. Ooh, a human being doesn't have to die. A human being can create their own world. A human being is limitless. That God, the creative energy of love, can be in form and be without limit. Without limit is the idea that we need to birth in order for that to happen. Otherwise, we're going to stay stuck in the same cycle of limitation that we've been creating. So verse 15 tells us, you are the accomplished. Sorry, there was no the. You are accomplished. Giving and receiving are one in truth. There is no loss, but only gain within the laws of love. Special relationships have been replaced by holy relationship. So what do these mean? You're accomplished. You don't have to get anywhere. It's already happened. You just have to become aware of it. Giving and receiving are one in truth. Since there is only one, when you give love to yourself and you receive love from yourself, the cycle is complete. And look, it extends to everything else in your creation. It's the same thing. There's no loss but only gain within the laws of love. It's because there's no such thing as lack. So loss doesn't exist. There is no such thing. There's only gain. There's only us expanding, growing. There's only the Creator knowing herself better. That's all there is, only gain. And special relationships have been replaced by holy relationship, which means that loving yourself brings all into alignment, into holy relationship. Verse 18. The total replacement of illusion with the truth is what the new thought system will accomplish. This replacement must be total. The means for making this total replacement are in your hands, but you are hardly empty-handed. The truth goes with you, as does the love and peace of God. So the total replacement of illusion happens because of what you have. The light of love, which is God, which is the juice that everything is created from. That's the stuff, the one thing. And you have it. You are it. Because the truth is, it's already there. And the love of peace and peace of God will show you the way as you take this juice and turn it toward yourself, toward your inner self, with complete compassion and acceptance and love, and recognizing there is no other. Extend it into everything that comes across your path. It's such a wonderful design, isn't it? Thanks for hanging out with me for a little while. And I wish you every success and joy on this wonderful journey.